Hi everyone, my name is Grace Steiner. I'm a nursing major here at George Fox. I chose option number 1 for this week's discussion. Other than World War I, describe an episode, idea, or movement discussed in this week's sources that you found most historically consequential and explain why it matters. And then address 2 of the 5 C's of historical thinking. So, I chose the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire of 1911. It was in our education puzzle this week. I found it very interesting that I've never heard of it, and I never heard of, that was what really started the regulation of labor laws, and so I found that interesting. It matters because it truly exposed how unsafe and unregulated the working conditions were in factories like that. The lack of the government regulation created this horrible, disgusting tragedy that could have been fixed, I guess. It didn't have to be that way. It killed 146 workers, 100 found inside the building, and 46 bodies were found on the street. Most of them were young immigrant women. So, this event just quickly addressed all of the problems that were extremely urgent for the government to regulate within the early 20th century. So before the fire, doors were often locked to prevent theft or people taking breaks, which I found interesting. There were no stairs that were safe or fire escapes that were safe. Workers had no legal protection. They were, kind of treated how their bosses wanted to treat them. And business owners prioritized profit over the well-being of their workers. And I find that really disgusting. So for change, the fire led to reforms in labor laws and workplace safety. So after the fire, New York created more than 30 new safety regulations, fire drills, sprinklers, fire escapes, stuff like that. They became required instead of not being necessary at all. Child labor laws were seriously put into place and enforced. The government took full responsibility for worker protection, and they inspired the growth of labor unions. So unions are still a big thing today. There's a nurses union. There's especially for blue collar people, there's a lot of unions. So for causality, basically what caused the fire and what did the fire cause? The cause was, it was an extremely flammable factory. It was a cloth factory. It was overcrowded. It had locked doors, again, to prevent theft and people taking breaks. A failed fire escape and a failure to have ladders big enough to get these people down. And the fire caused nationwide outrage, political pressure to help with the labor laws and to help with the industry, and support for the unions again, and the foundation of really the modern workplace safety standards that are still in place today. This was really the start, the beginning of all of that. So I find that really important.